Oh, nice. All right. Hey, welcome to the Bean Apple, our first video edition. Super excited for this. It's been coming for a while. We've been talking about it for a while, but it's glad it's finally happening. So we've got Mike back again, joining us to break down the outstanding Jets Broncos game that just transpired. We got Jim and John, our normal hosts, back for another show to kind of break down their games and what's going on. A lot of stuff going on there in Beantown, and New York Giants are getting ready for a big matchup against the Rams. So we're going to break
big
down
matchup. Is that really a big matchup?
They need a win. So
yes. Okay, so it is.
Yeah. All right. So let's start off with our recap of the Thursday night game. So final.
That was a big matchup.
That game was very, very close for a while until the Jets finally relented and decided to go ahead and continue that winless streak. So 37-28 final score. Brett Rippon. We made him look like an NFL quarterback, which is awesome for a guy's first start who had 9 passes in his career coming into this. He threw 3 interceptions, a pick 6, but 2 touchdowns, 242 yards. Melvin Gordon really sealed the deal there at the end of the game, 23 for 107 and 2 touchdowns. And Tim Patrick came out of nowhere with a 6 for 113 and a touchdown. He was just abusing for huge chunks all night. Jerry Jeudy, he had a great game. I said it was going to happen, and it definitely came to fruition in that one. But that catch over Desir,
he mossed him.
Man, I mean, just
he mossed him.
He did.
Right off his faceplate.
Yeah, two.
It looked,
only 2 catches though, but he still did his job.
Watching that play live, because they showed it like 4 times in super slow-mo. Like Desir has perfect position on that play, right? Oh, yeah. So he's in front of him. He's kind of blocking him out, and when he jumps up, first off, I'm positive his eyes are closed because it's like there's no other explanation for what happened. It hit him in the face, and then it just kind of landed right in Judy's arms, and even Judy is like looking at him like, "What is that? Was that real? Yeah. Like, are you a NFL cornerback? Okay," and he just took it in.
Right. It's not soccer. You can use your hands to interfere with the ball. He didn't have to headbutt it down. So that was disgusting.
Desir had an interesting game. He wound up with 8 tackles because they kept throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. Every pass was like to him because they couldn't cover, what was his name? Patrick, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, 6 of 7, by the way. 7 targets, 6 catches, 113 yards. But then, he comes up with the pick at the end, like you said, 3 picks. The Jets,
he also had beautiful toe drag interception.
He did have the nice toe drag. I mean,
he had the most bizarre defensive game I think you'll ever see. I mean, he was used and abused, but then pick 6 and that catch. I mean, a lot of wide receivers can't do that, and he got it. Yeah. It's like.
He could have been the defensive player of the game if it wasn't for
his inability to stop the pass.
All the other nonsense going on. Exactly.
So it turns out he's a great receiver. He just can't actually
cover anybody. Right. He can't cover anybody.
Yeah.
Well, hey, he learned from his mistake, right? It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? So he gets blinded by the ball, and he gets the ball taken away from his eyes, and then after that, he steps up and has a great ending of the game, right?
Yeah.
So
you know what hurt me the most out of this game? So in fantasy, I needed a defense this week, and the Jets were there. I almost contemplated taking the Jets.
Oh, come on!
But I ended up taking the Broncos. And when Darnold ran for that 46-yard touchdown early in the first quarter, I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. I still got 10 points from him, but the Jets actually got 12 fantasy points in my league. So.
Yep.
Somehow they gave up 36, 38 points and still earned 12 points. But it was the defense that I was going with. The Jets actually played somewhat decent at times.
Please.
They really did. They did.
What are we saying here?
Well, So we talk about quarterbacks. They did pick them off 3 times. Their defense did have 3 interceptions that game.
No sacks.
You know, I can't remember the sack total. I want to say what Denver had 4.5,
A big fat
and the Jets had 0.
Yeah.
So that tells you the pass rush. But I mean, 3 interceptions. Still, I realize this is for a start, but I mean, for that defense to have 3 interceptions all year, I think it's pretty.
Hold on. The kid threw the ball. There were 3 Broncos and 1 Jet. I mean, if one of the Broncos didn't intercept the ball, he had no business throwing it there.
Yeah, but if they were receivers, they'd be playing on the offense. That's the golden rule, right? If you were a receiver, you wouldn't be a D-back.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, that's the kudos I'm going to give the Jets. Other than that, their running game was, I mean, Frank Gore averaged, 3.2 a carry, if that. Darnold led the team in rushing. Just not, and Joe, you talked about it at the very beginning when we were talking about our teams, and the offensive line is just not there. Just not there. So,
John, listen.
I don't know.
Until fantasy sports start giving points for personal fouls, do not take the Jets defense. Okay?
Oh, no. Well,
7.
I had no other option. I mean, I should have taken the Jets. It would have got me 2 more points, because I started thinking, a rookie quarterback, are they going to get toasted 2 weeks in a row? And then I thought, yes, they will. Yeah. So I didn't take them, But I ended up going with Denver's, who isn't much better. They went in 0-2. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. 0-3.
Yeah,
sorry.
And listen, Denver was asking for it. Listen, I don't condone what was happening, but you're up 9 points. There's 20 seconds left. Stop taking shots at the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think's going to happen there, right? Greg Williams isn't the kind of guy that you want to, take shots at like that, because he doesn't care. He'll try to break the quarterback's leg, and it looked like he was trying to break their leg. Yeah.
Right.
So,
but
when
they talked about that after the game was the discipline and lack of discipline. Like, a lot of those tackles, a lot of those hits didn't need to be done. Like, you can play hard to the whistle, but you can't play through the whistle. And that we talked about it last week with the Jets of, like, you can't make a tackle because they didn't have the preseason to practice their tackling. It's the same thing. Like, what the rules are. You can't grab the face mask. Right. You can't hit the quarterback after he throws a ball. I mean, these rules, but they're still doing it. And Steve Smith, after the game, I don't know if you watched the breakdown after that, but he tore into Greg Williams, saying that this is the same exact play that he taught in New Orleans, that, like, people would call defensive players from New Orleans that he was friends with would call and, like, apologize after the game that, Greg Williams coached them that way. They'd be fined if they weren't playing to that level and all this other stuff. And he's like, and it looks like it's just continuing right into New York. And Mike, you talked about it last week about how, people were pushing for him to be the coach of this team. But if he didn't learn from his 1-year suspension for Bountygate, and then he's still teaching dirty play on the defense like that, you got to clean house completely. You really do. And the fact that Gase is still the head coach of this team, I don't get it. I thought it was a shoo-in, Jim. You were calling it all season, and it looked like it was done. I mean, you can't beat a third-string quarterback in an 0-3 team that had to travel across the country on a short week with no practice, and you still couldn't handle him. He couldn't call any plays to get that done. I mean, just the offense, he can't. You get in the red zone, nothing's going to happen. He's 0 for 11 in the red zone. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, just breaking the game down even a little bit further. So, since you're talking about the particular red zone thing, so we score the touchdown, right? We get the pick six. It's 27-25. Now we got to go for 2. And I'm like, do we have a 2-point play? No. So what we got to do is we got to roll out to the right. You cut the field in half. Everybody's there. That play had no chance to succeed. I would have liked to have seen Darnold throw it all the way back to the left, because maybe somebody would have been standing there by himself. But the play had no chance, and it almost looked like he was throwing it away because it was such a boneheaded play call. But even with that, and even with Rippon gifting us back-to-back interceptions on back-to-back drives, right? The pick six, and then he comes right back and throws another pick, and you can see him hanging his head there. There's 8 minutes left in the game. And now here come the Jets, right? They're down by 2. They're down by 2, 27-25. and we move the ball down to the Denver 19-yard line. It's actually the 23. It's 3rd and 5. We complete a short pass because that's all we know how to do. Down to the, we initially get the first down, but you can clearly see in real time it wasn't a first down, right? Yeah. So whatever. So this is something else that was interesting. You could clearly see it's not.
I love this.
Down, okay?
You guys are.
Yeah,
you guys are so mad.
You know where I'm going. So let's call a timeout. Let's not, like what other teams, the smart teams will do. They'll run up to the line. They'll bang another play. Run it up the middle or do something. No, we call a timeout. And then, Fangio goes over and somebody whispers in his ear, "Hey, I don't think he made it. Maybe we should challenge that with the extra 2 minutes that they have." Right. And then, we'll challenge it. Oh, it turns out he didn't make it because the Jets are too stupid to realize he didn't make it. Right. I saw it. I'm watching it from here. Mm-hmm. I could see he didn't make it. So now what do? Okay, now you got a decision. It's 4th and 1. You're 0-3. And if you don't win this game, first of all, you could be fired. Second, your season's over if you don't win this game. What do? We go for a field goal because that's what they always do. That's what he always does. Let's kick a field goal. It's 4th and a half a yard. It wasn't even 1, right? 4th and a half a yard. I think what they did was they didn't want to get questioned again. They didn't want to have a handoff to the practice squad running back. There you go. Josh Adams, like they did 2 weeks ago, because when it was 4th and inches, they gave it to the guy who was on the street. They didn't want to have that debate again. Could Darnold do a sneak, or could they? No. Let's kick a field goal and let's keep them in the game instead of the good teams line up. They ram it in there. They get the yard. They run the clock. There was 6 minutes left in the game at that point. They run the clock all the way down. Then if they have to kick a cheapy field goal, there's a minute and a half or whatever, 2 minutes, 3 minutes in the game. You got a third-string quarterback. The game's going to be over at that point. No. But it's what they do. It's an argument for why Gase is wrong. That's an argument for why Gase is wrong.
But like you said,
it's
the good teams.
You guys are talking about their defense, though, too. But it all starts with Gase. It all starts with Gase. I think we've all seen the movie Remember the Titans. Attitude reflects leadership. So the attitude of that team is reflecting Gase. It just is from offense to special teams to defense. I guarantee you remove Gase, the defense will be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you said the good teams do that, right? The Jets are not a good team. Obviously, the coaches have no confidence that they're going to be able to move the ball at all, right? They're not even going to break the plane here. So, I think there was some times too where I saw Donald go back and where he had actually more than 2 seconds where he could have ran, right? And he doesn't know what to do. He starts looking left, looking right. He gets sacked even on the last play of the game. Last play of the game, you can't take a sack. What are you doing? He's standing there. He said, "Done, game over." You got to throw the ball somewhere. Put it up in the air. Do something. Run.
You can't get anybody open. That's what I was the last 2 drives on 4th down, they went 5 wide, and nobody could beat man coverage. They were blanketed. He had nowhere to go.
That's incredible.
You're 5 wide. You can't call a play that you could a bump and run to get somebody a yard and a half of free space. Like there was just nothing. And
times, do we got to watch the Patriots run pick plays?
Right.
Illegal pick plays that don't get called, and we can't come up with a legal rub route to clear a little space for somebody.
You watch Edelman do that all the time,
all day long. Exactly. Mm-hmm. But it's not.
I love that we haven't even talked about the Patriots, but yet you're referring to a Patriots play. That's hatred. I love it. Let the hate grow in you.
I've been saying for a while, there's so many things wrong with Gase. But so here's another one, and I have another one. So, they throw a ball deep. This guy, Brian Rippon, his first touchdown, or one of them, was travels 40 yards in the air. There's a third-string quarterback throwing to a no-name receiver, and he's going to let it rip 40 yards in the air. Oh, was it one to Jeremy Jeudy? Jerry, okay. Great. He's a rookie wideout, though. They're throwing it 40 yards in the air, and our passes, even at one point, it might have been Aikman had said, all these guys throw are lateral passes. This offense is so lively. Everything is this way, that way, quick out. Throw it down the field. And one time they did throw one down the field, and they got a pass interference call. Yeah. Stuff can happen. Right. Did anybody notice that? Can the coordinator, when he's holding the clipbook or Gase's cup of coffee, go over and tell him?
The offensive coordinator's not allowed to talk. That's Gase's offense.
It's Gase's.
Right? The offensive coordinator can't make a call, and Sam Darnold can't audible. It's all
stuff happens. It's a passing league. It's so hard to cover people now. Yeah. You get calls. Stuff happens.
Yeah, wasn't it like a 46-yard penalty or something like that? A massive penalty.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't even think it was really pass interference either.
I don't think so.
They
either.
were both.
I mean,
sometimes that happens.
Going for the ball, it's a little hand play, but come on, that's not a penalty.
That stuff happens, and
here's the thing, too. Though Jamison Crowder is your number one. He was like a number 2 or 3 on Washington. You know what I mean? It's like they line up 5 wide, and you're wondering why they can't get separation. I mean, let's take a look at the talent.
Yeah.
And it's not even to be mean. It's just, reality. You don't have Le'Veon Bell coming out of the backfield right now to even hold the linebackers down, so everybody's dropping back into coverage on 3rd and long because they proved that they can stop Gore. I mean, Gore's averaging 3 yards a
why is he still in the game?
So it's like all the linebackers are dropping back. You get a 3-4 man rush that's still kind of getting to them, and now everybody's blanketed. So on man, it's really double teaming. 3 out of the 5 receivers. It really is. So, talent-wise, and is it Darnold's fault? And it's funny. I sent you guys that little meme about if the Jets have the number 1 pick. Is Lawrence going to go back to Clemson?
Maybe.
Why would he want to go to the Jets? There's nothing there. It's not like there's an up-and-coming offensive line. It's not like, okay, Le'Veon Bell's there, but, I mean, you've seen the last 2 years. What has he done? And he's
going to be cut this offseason anyway.
Probably going to be traded back to Pittsburgh, for a 5th-round pick.
They can release him after this year and take minimal cap hit for it. So
yeah, for sure.
They're not going to pay him another – what is he making, like 15 or something like that a year?
14 or 15,
They're going to cut bait on that, obviously, after his average of, 3 yards a carry for the last 2 years.
But again, is that him or is that the line? You know what I mean? Pittsburgh had a good offensive line back in the day. And they still do now. Look at their running backs. I mean, whoever carries the ball there is getting 100-plus yards a week.
I think the Jets' line has gotten significantly better than last season. It's a lot better, especially when Becton's out there. I don't like Van Rotten. It feels like he's whiffing a lot. I don't know what his pass block win rate % is or anything like that, but it always seems like he's missing his blocks.
Yeah.
But outside of him, it feels like the line's gotten a lot better. But speaking of Becton, what is this guy? What is your blue chip tackle who's hurt doing in the game?
Right.
Trying
to end his career? You're trying to knock him out for the season?
I know. Gase.
Exactly.
Is the answer Gase?
Starts with.
Are we playing Jeopardy? Who is Gase?
Who is Gase? Right. You do not put him in the game. I don't care what he says. Of course he's going to say I can play. Why are you even suiting him up? Right. He's hurt. You sit him out, and whatever. You just sit him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead,
Well, they still have a chance at making the playoffs.
Yeah, but you dress him, but you cut Nate Hairston before the game and dress 3 cornerbacks. Like, why?
He's not capable of coaching. He's not. I know.
They thought they were playing Mark Rippon in the Super Bowl back in the day, is what they thought.
On a lighter note, Sam looked pretty good when he had some time and made some things happen. I mean, he had the long run, which he looked good on. That scramble and touchdown that he had there right in the corner, that was perfectly placed. Beautiful pass. The receiver was blanketed right there in the corner of the end zone. He still came away with it. That was outstanding. When Sam could get moving and get some time to do something, he has a ton of talent. The offensive line, like you said, just lets guys straight through, uninhibited on most of the drives. His pressure rate is through the roof. It's just disgusting. But
you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it, right? And I never watched a Jet game, but I had to watch it because they put it on Thursday night. Because I guess they figured no one in the world's going to watch the game, so they wanted some ratings. But getting to see the game, you wouldn't know whether or not the guy has talent. I don't know what Darnold could really do, because every time I see him, he's either on his back or they're down big, or there's never anything happening. So maybe there's a broken play. Like I think Mike said a couple of shows ago where that's the only time he actually gets any yardage is when it's a broken play, right? And then somebody happens to get open and he can throw the ball. But other than that, you don't really know what you got. I mean, I don't know if they really know. So that could be part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let's get off this soapbox here.
Already?
Let's
Already?
Already.
How about
20?
How about
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
Yeah. So
Playoffs?
The team has nowhere to go but down because there's no win in like the next 6 games that they even have a possibility of getting.
Let me ask you one more question before we go off. So let's just play hypothetical. So the Jets go 0-16. Oh, whatever. Let's say they go, because I don't see where they're going to get. I don't see a win on their schedule the rest of the way. But let's say they beat Miami in one of the home series. So let's say, whatever, for argument's sake, let's say they win 2 games. Now they have the number 1 pick. So they're sitting at the top. Now some team who is sitting 3, 4, whoever, comes to the Jets and say, here's 2 number 1s. I want to swap. You can drop from 1 to 4, and you're going to get 2 number 1 picks. So do you keep Darnold, get those 2 number 1s, combine with the 2 number 1s that you got for Jamal Adams, and build really throw away 20 years of bad drafting and really start to build. Maybe you go out and get 1 or 2 pieces in free agency, and could you in a year or 2 under a scenario like that become relevant? Or would you say, no way, I'm drafting Trevor Lawrence?
So I think you called it before, Mike. You know what you're getting with Trevor Lawrence. You just do. I think we've seen enough of him in the past 2 years. You kind of know what you got with him. With this year, who knows? Maybe the college season's going to be shortened. Who knows? We can't predict that. But like you said, their history of bad drafting, because it hasn't really been good. They've had a lot of high picks. I mean, I don't know if Darnold's good or bad, kind of like what Jim said, but you know what you're getting in Trevor Lawrence. You just do. But would he be any better on this team? I don't know. You know what I mean? I truly don't. So the smart move I think would be to trade down and take more picks. But who's going to be making those picks?
Yeah, new coach.
That's the scary thing.
Sure.
Yeah, a new coach, new GM. Well, are you going to strike gold like you did in San Francisco or like Arizona, where you hire some young, energetic coach with an offensive machine in college, like kind of like what Arizona did with the coach from Texas A&M? Will they stumble upon something like that, or like John Lynch in San Francisco? So it's like, who knows? But I don't know. I think if I'm the owner, I clear house. I pull in people that are going to know shit, take care of business, and maybe make that trade.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I think Sam's potential is still too much to pass on immediately. And then when you look at his age, like you said, he's going to be 23, right, this year. So I mean, you're potentially. I mean, you're looking at a guy that could play till he's 40 years old, and you could have him as a franchise guy. For the next 17 years, like that's, I mean, how could you pass on that? But yeah, if you could trade down, say Jacksonville wants to trade up and get him, and you're moving back to the 4 or 5 spot, you're getting 2 firsts and a second potentially out of that, especially for Trevor Lawrence. You could definitely demand a lot. If you could grab Jamar Chase coming out and put a beast wide receiver immediately on there. That's a huge point. Then you've also got the first round from Seattle, wherever that's going to end up, and then you're still picking with the number 1 spot in the second round. So you're going to get somebody who slipped in the draft that's a super high talent. Jacksonville, potentially, let's just use them as the trade partner. They're not going to improve dramatically, most likely, playing the odds the next year, even with Trevor Lawrence. So you're still getting a solid, probably top 10 pick the next year as well out of that. So I think the value is too much, and you would have to stick. If I was the GM, I would stick with Sam. I would give him the opportunity with some real talented blue chip prospects that you would be picking up with those picks. It'd be hard to pass on for me But yeah, you could definitely live to regret that if Trevor Lawrence turns into the next great quarterback and you've let it go. So.
Yeah, you wonder, you look at the teams that are going to be there with the Jets, right, with the worst records, right? Giants are going to be right next to them. The Texans 0-3, they got nothing going on. Are they going to be down there? So the Giants aren't looking for a quarterback. Texans aren't looking for a quarterback. If Cincinnati's down there, they're not looking for a quarterback. So who's in those bottom or early picks? Who's really looking for? Is Jacksonville really going to take a quarterback? Are they not going to stick with who they have? I don't know. I don't know.
And they draft well, though. That's the thing. Why would they give up a 1 when they already draft pretty well?
So who's really going to be in the business to trade with the Jets? I don't know.
Washington.
It could be,
maybe Washington.
But again, Washington has a quarterback too. So who's looking for the quarterback?
True.
Right? And maybe the Jets aren't either. So maybe he falls to
Detroit.
Yeah, right. Stafford, right? Could be.
Well, Jacksonville,
He's getting
Minnesota. Old. I don't know if they would give up on Kirk Cousins at this point, but potentially at Detroit, you're looking. I don't know. There's a lot of young teams.
New England.
Yeah. That would be something.
New England, the next Tom Brady.
The Jets would do that too. Right. Yeah.
Of course they would. I mean, they traded us Bill Belichick
for a nice draft pick. So
that'll be pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about New England. A lot's happened. In the last couple hours, right? So, yeah,
7 hours.
Take a shot.
So, Sir Cam Newton, unfortunately, tested positive for COVID-19. Hopefully, he's doing well. But it scares me because he's been saying this whole time, and I believe him, that he's living in his own bubble. His family's not out here. He hasn't traveled around the area. You don't see him in Boston. He's the first player in, last player out, gets his food delivered, already made. So how did it really happen? Because he's the only Patriot right now that has tested positive for it. At least that's what they're reporting. So how did it happen? We don't know yet, a little bit too early. Of course, health is the first concern. Hopefully he's okay. They haven't really reported if he's showing symptoms or not. I haven't seen anything on that yet, so that'll be curious to see. But what does it do to the game? So the second part, now let's talk about the game. So they're playing Kansas City. They have had one player test positive as well. I want to say their backup or a practice squad quarterback, I believe, or cornerback. So they postponed the game tomorrow, and they're looking at possibly Tuesday. I don't want to see New England play Kansas City with Hoyer or Stidham. I don't want to see it. You're right. You have to. So I would rather for a reason we do, and for this situation. So Stidham hasn't been active the last 3 weeks. He's been kind of held out with an injury. So I guess we'll see what truly happens, because now if Stidham is an unhealthy scratch, now we have no backup quarterback, which would be Julian Edelman. I'd rather not see our best wide receiver going up against Kansas City. They have a pretty decent defense. I don't want to see Jones over there plowing him into the ground all game. So kind of sucks in a way. And again, I know health is mostly important, but I truly want to see a Cam Newton offense against Kansas City. I don't know if we could have beat them. I'm not saying that at all. I think more would have been relying on the running game. I mean, I didn't pick Kansas City. I didn't pick New England this weekend. I pick them. I didn't. I try not to pick with my heart, but I hope they win. Of course, I'm not saying I hope they lose. So would have been a close game. I don't know. Would Sony Michel run wild? God, I would hope so, because you have to keep Mahomes off the field. And then the question, kind of like what you brought up the week before, Mike, who's Gilmore going to cover? Is he going to cover Kelsey? Is he going to cover Hill?
Matter.
I would guess Kelsey.
Too many weapons.
And then double team Hill. They do. And that's part of the problem. You'd probably be playing a dime the whole game. You truly would. So, but then, the LSU, the SEC beast running back, playing behind Mahomes, playing behind Mahomes is just as potent right now. So, but I would have just loved to see Newton play against Kansas City, and I'm curious to see if they're even going to play Tuesday, because that's going to put the Chiefs in a position where they're going to play 3 games in 9 days. So they play Tuesday, then Sunday, then Thursday.
Yep.
The NFL talks about keeping players healthy and things like that, giving players rest, and that whole team would get 0 rest.
Yeah,
so
I wish they would have. I wish they would
I
have
don't know.
played also, because there's nothing I enjoy more than seeing Cam Newton practically crying like one of my kids after he loses.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy that. But yeah, what's interesting now
John,
is the
Mike, you don't actually enjoy your kids crying afterwards.
No.
Okay, good.
I don't enjoy my kids crying. But the NFL now is setting an interesting precedent, because a quarterback is sick. They didn't say 15 people like the Titans are out. So now what? So now let's say next week the number 2 wideout or the number 3 wideout on any team is hurt, or not hurt. Comes down with COVID, right? Now what? Now is that game going to be postponed? He's the number 3 wideout. Do you really need where? Now all of a sudden you're going to start getting into judgment calls on how important is this player, and you can't do that. So I'm hoping.
Well, I think they're retesting everybody, though. I think their protocol, if I heard it right, they have to go back to everybody who he's been in close contact with and retest everybody. But I know they got the rapid tests. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I know they have to go back, and that's why I was curious why they postponed it so fast.
That's why, because the starting quarterback is
Belichick. Belichick has to coach.
Well, they didn't do it, though, until the player from Kansas City tested positive, though. They were still going to play because they ruled him out for Sunday. He was ruled out for Sunday, and then it came out that the Kansas City player tested positive. That's when the NFL postponed it.
But the problem is these things come up 3-4 days later. So Cam's positive today. Maybe no one else is positive yet. All of a sudden, Sony Michel comes up positive Sunday or Monday, and so you keep saying, like they said originally, I think with Pittsburgh, well, we're hoping to play Monday or Tuesday or some. But then you can't play a doubleheader. It's not baseball.
You can't.
So when it gets that time, what are you going to start doing? I mean, luckily the Pittsburgh Titans had the bye week that they were able to manipulate and make it work. But when you're, first of all, when you pass the bye week, what are you going to do then? How is that going to work? And then what's going to be the number? Like you're saying, is it one guy? If one coach comes up positive, does the game cancel? If the offensive coordinator, if the Jets, so wait a minute. The Jets offensive coordinator comes down with it, they probably still play and win, right? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. And Darnold.
No, if Gase got it, if Gase had it.
I wish ill on no one, but he could get the sniffles. That's fine.
I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. You know what I mean? I'm wondering, the head coach, if a head coach gets it, is the game canceled? If he's the only one positive, what are they going to do? They have to come up with some kind of rules and how they're going to handle this going forward. Otherwise, you're going to run into the wall. And
that's hard to do, too. What happens if you test positive? What if you have Cam Newton test positive on a Friday? You can't test people fast enough to play a Sunday game. It's just
right.
Well, I think they can because they do perform the rapid test though. They are so the players aren't having to wait. It's like a 15-minute test.
Oh, what if it's Sunday morning? What if it's Sunday morning before the game? They're going to say, "Okay, guys."
They're not. No,
I don't think they test then though. I think they test the day before, and then if nobody tests negative, right?
They don't want to know,
right, Mike? I'm not saying that it's right.
On Monday.
And I probably wouldn't either. I don't even think the players want to know. But they're testing them Saturday to try and clear everybody for Sunday. So, I mean, Jim, to your point, what's the protocol for this? They had to have written something down for this. And who knows, maybe it was go to Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, whatever, if both teams have a bye week.
Yeah.
But, I mean, from what I was listening to, it was because another player tested positive for it. So you tell me 2 players warrant a postponement, or is it 2 players from 2 different teams, or one player from 2 different teams?
I don't know. 98% of the fantasy teams, we got to postpone it. Right? They're looking at that.
Right.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, they're killing me in a couple
I know.
leagues with Tennessee and Kansas
With
City.
injuries and
The problem,
so.
Right.
the way that we got here, the reason that we're here, maybe I should say, is because of the NFL's greed, really, right? So they should have never tried to put out a 17-week schedule. And if everybody plays 16 games, nobody else did that. MLB's playing, 60? NHL did an abbreviated.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the NFL is going to be different because, I don't know, they thought they're not even in the bubble, but they thought COVID wasn't going to impact them. They should have put out a 10-game schedule, heavily weighted on your conference and your division. Maybe you still keep, 2 games against all your division rivals, and then 1 or 2, 3, 4, whatever other games, and that's it. And then if you had to reschedule, if there was COVID, then you have some flexibility. Now you're dead. Now you can't have a week 18 where only KC is going to play somebody, because now they have a huge disadvantage over somebody else who's going to be making the playoffs that they might have to play against. They're going to get a free bye. There's no easy way to fix it.
They didn't have the preseason, right? So they killed the preseason as a precaution, I guess, right? And thinking maybe that'll help. But you're right. You can't then have a full 18-game season and think, we'll just cross our fingers and hope nothing happens, right? No.
Yeah.
But regardless, the Chiefs are going to steamroll the Patriots.
For sure.
They handled Baltimore like it was the Jets.
That was unbelievable. Yeah.
I couldn't get over that game. That was shocking how, you talk about Belichick takes the best player out. Well, Lamar Jackson.
Quiet as John's been all year.
Yeah, because he knows it's gonna be bad.
I don't think they would have steamrolled them. I don't think they would have. We play Kansas City tough every time. Every time.
Patrick Mahomes tough though.
Yes, we have. We beat Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago.
Days.
Didn't KC?
Nope. It was Mahomes
in New England that opening night. 2 years ago, was it? Make me go back and look. Why don't you? Yeah, you want me to go back?
I have no recollection of that. I have short-term memory.
Kareem Hunt.
But I do know the Patriots beat him in the playoffs and went to the
Kareem
Super
Hunt's
Bowl.
rookie
That I
game,
do
his
know.
first touch, he fumbled, and then all of a sudden he ran.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? I told you I'm senile. I don't remember that one.
No more questions, Your Honor.
No more questions.
So I don't get fined.
I plead the fifth. I'm invoking my rights.
So I don't get fined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's look back. So the Patriots did beat the Chiefs in 2019 in the playoffs, but they did lose the regular season game to them. They lost prior to that in 2018. They won in 2017, but that was before Mahomes. So so they actually
they lost twice. Okay.
They have
I only care about the last time, and they won last time.
Yeah. Hey,
we beat Mahomes in the playoffs when it counted.
You can still say it. Because the last time.
No way, Brian Hoyer is gonna go out there and take everyone by storm. You watch.
for the first time in his career.
Brian Hoyer. Hoyer against Mahomes. That's not what the NFL wanted.
Right.
NFL wanted Mahomes versus
This would be
Newton.
another example, because you've already seen San Fran with a third-string quarterback. You've seen Denver with a third. You're going to see another
That's what I'm hoping on.
with a no-name quarterback who's going to be slim and doing things very creative to create offense with what he has.
Mm-hmm. Look at the Chargers, right?
Another game to be jealous of.
Well, if anybody can do it, it's Belichick, because we saw him do that in the 4-game Brady suspension when Garoppolo came in, got hurt, but still won.
What'd you say, Joe? If anybody can, who can?
Yeah. Sorry for the audio interruption.
I thought it was him.
But even Jacoby Brissett, who ended up having an actual NFL career, who probably should have never played in a game in his life, in all honesty, but he came in and won. What did he win? 2 games?
I love Brissett.
In that stretcher. Yeah. he had no business even playing, much less holding a clipboard. But I hate to say it.
Too.
Yeah, they make halftime adjustments.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Cool. So.
You guys could have had him. I mean, Belichick even did a press conference with the Jets, didn't he? Saying, I'm happy to be here. And then, like, 3 days later or whatever it was.
There is a lot of speculation there.
Oh, man.
Kraft actually secretly met with him and offered him a bigger contract, and that's why he left.
Yeah.
Which, surprise, New England.
Look, I don't care what they did.
Right. The cheating goes right to the top.
I also heard.
Look, I said this before, and I'll say it again.
Hey,
they're being creative.
I'm pretty sure that meeting happened in Miami Gardens too, but that's not confirmed. But
over a foot massage.
You know what? Honestly,
or
as a
something.
Fan, I would be very happy with the same outcome right now. 20 years of absolute dominance. Over a foot massage contract.
Absolutely.
Sign me up. Yeah, Woody Johnson.
Take that any day of the week.
Whoever the hell is going to be running the team, head down to a massage parlor with the next great coach and, get something done.
Go to Arizona. Go to Arizona and steal them away.
Well, Cliff Kingsbury's house is, I don't think he's leaving that.
Yeah, that's a badass house, boy. I don't think he's giving that desert oasis up. For what a Manhattan penthouse, though, that wouldn't look too bad. Right?
Yeah.
City that never sleeps.
Cool. All right, let's swing back down to New York and talk the only team that's actually going to be playing with the Giants.
In the Meadowlands? Well, actually playing in LA, but yeah, so the Giants, I mean, going into the season, I had higher hopes. I didn't have the highest hopes, but I did not see us going 0-3 in the first 3 games. But I mean, we're last in offense, 272 yards a game, 12 points a game, 56 rushing yards. I mean, yeah, Saquon goes down. I'm not expecting any rushing to happen, but I mean, 12 points a game. I mean, unless you're playing the Jets, you're not beating anybody, right? Well, they scored 6 last week. 6 last week. We would have won 12-6. But yeah, I mean, you look now against the Rams here, right? They're getting 13 points going out there, but you got to worry about Aaron Donald, right? I mean, Nick Gates, the center, is going to have his hands full with this guy. This guy's a human wrecking ball, and Jones is going to be running for his life. And just like happened against Pittsburgh, I don't see the line holding up. And I think it's going to be a long day for the Giants. I think those 13 points are probably going to go up, but they got to try and get Devontae involved. I know Jason Garrett keeps talking about, hey, this guy has a lot of experience. Hey, we're going to use him. I know John loves hearing this, but I mean, what are we going to do? We got to do something. We need somebody that can try and run the ball. I mean, this guy has done it, right? He's been a Pro Bowl player, but yeah, I get it. There's a much gas left in the tank here, but I think
he's got to be better than Wayne Gallman and
Deion
Lewis. I mean, Deion Lewis is the catching.
Hold on, though. They signed Alfred Morris. Don't forget. I mean, they got a two-headed monster back there with Freeman and Morris. Yeah, guys have played like 5 years.
Bringing in guys. I mean, every day we see he's picking up guys from different teams' practice squads and guys they have let go and during the cuts. And, he keeps trying to rotate. He wants to win. I still think the team believes in him. I think I was never a Jason Garrett fan. I loved beating him in Dallas. And he comes over. He's done much, like I said, 12 points a game. But I'm not thinking that the Giants are going to give the Rams a fight here. You have Robert Woods and Kupp going against Bradbury and Logan Ryan, and we're going to see what that's going to look like. But so I've taken the Giants every game, right? Against Pittsburgh, against Chicago, I keep taking them, thinking because I'm betting with my heart, right? Like John likes to say, and I'm a fan, right? So I'm a fan whether they're doing bad or they're doing good. I got to stick with them. But I cannot say I'm going to take them this week against the Rams in the pick 'em pool. No, that's not going to happen. And I do think that line probably goes up over 14 points. But yeah, I mean, I just, it's disappointing to see. I was really hoping that we would have had a better record after 3 games. And in reality, if something crazy does happen, there's a chance. So if the Giants did somehow pull this game out and go 1-3, there's a chance it's like a 4-way tie for first place, almost. Well, the Eagles have a tie in there. But I mean, if Dallas ended up losing somehow to Cleveland, they could be 1-3 for everybody, which you look at the East, and like I've said, the East used to be the monsters, right? The NFC East used to be the division that nobody wanted to play. And now it's all moved out west. I mean, you come through here now and you have Dallas. They're not doing anything. They have so much talent they can't beat anybody. The Eagles are just horrendous, and mainly it's injuries. But, yeah, the Giants and Redskins, yeah, it's sad to see the Redskins maybe having a better record after 4 weeks than some of these other ones. I mean, what world is this happening in? But,
It's interesting. And what happened to Slayton? I mean, he came out week one. He came out week one, and he was outstanding. And I thought John killed it. I was like, man, he got his breakout wide receiver, nailed it. Like, what a start! And ever since then, just lights out.
And Sterling Shepard's been out, so he's
turf toe.
Yeah,
so
same with Tate too.
Wide receiver,
right? Wow.
Turf toe. Well, I think it's a combination of, I think the Giants have some of the same problems as the Jets do. They lost their starting running back. I know Bell's not Saquon, but still, I mean, they lost their starting running back. The offensive line is underperforming. You got injuries at wide receiver. I mean, Golden Tate. I didn't get duped this year for the first time in fantasy taking Golden Tate because I don't know. Has that guy seen the field yet? Maybe last week for a little bit. So I don't think you're seeing Slayton put up numbers because the offensive line isn't just given the protection to throw it on field. I don't, Giants are hurting right now, unless that old line picks up. Oh boy, they're gonna. I mean, it may be a New York street fight for the number 1 pick this year. Who knows?
Jones is gonna have to. Do a
just
lot
too
of
many
run,
injuries,
right? And run for his life and try and get some first downs. Right.
And he's not even doing that. That's the weird thing. Right. He's not even right. And if the line's not blocking for you, why aren't you taking advantage of your legs? I'm shocked we haven't seen it yet. I truly am. I thought we'd be seeing a whole lot more of him running. Who knows? Maybe Judge wants to turn him into a pocket passer. But why take away a key element of a player's strength?
And that's what,
by handcuffing him.
He is the leading rusher.
I don't know if that's the case.
I
don't know.
Rusher on the team so far.
That keeps a
defense. And it's not that good.
You you've got a quarterback that can run. You can't just
absolutely
all the time and then just leave 12 yards open in the middle of the field because everybody's coming. And they're not running at all, which is weird. And then Andrew Thomas, what your first round pick? What's going on with him? I mean,
he's getting beat too. The line is just horrendous. I mean,
he was the best. He was supposed to be the best tackle coming out of the draft.
Wasn't that? No, I thought the kid from Bama was supposed to. I thought the Giants took a little bit of slack when they took him.
Andrew Thomas was supposed to be the best, and then who came out of Alabama?
I thought it was the kid, the guy from Bama. The guy who jumped out of the pool standing there straight up, and it was an amazing video if you've never seen it. My God, it's just impressive. Yeah, I thought he was supposed to go number 1.
I've got all the
I'll have to take a look into that.
Wharf was Tampa,
He went to Tampa.
So
he ended up going to Tampa.
Wharf, Mekhi Becton, Andrew Thomas, and of course the guy we're thinking about, I can't think of who the fourth, but that was the top tier.
Willis.
Jedrick Willis.
Yes. Jedrick Willis.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So he after the draft, but going
into
the college season, Andrew Thomas was the tackle coming out, and then it was between him and Willis, and he just kept slipping. But I remember seeing in the preseason when he was just getting pushed around. Thomas was just getting owned, and it looks like he's not providing much of an anchor there on the blind side to open anything up for him as well, which sucks. I mean, you can't. It hurts.
It started week 1. It started week 1 against Pittsburgh. I mean, he was running for his life. Saquon was missing the blitzes, and I mean, unless they're just dialing up stuff that they're not prepared for, the line hasn't been holding up at all. I mean, It's been terrible. And now, like I said, going against Donald, I'm not looking forward to.
Right. Thomas is not going to be able to stop him.
No way.
He's going to get knocked on his ass. And I feel bad for Jones. Hopefully, he does start running and he keeps that defense on, in check. And
he's going to have
balance.
to. Right.
But even last year, Saquon didn't have a very successful running year. He was just catching like 15 passes a game. He was just an outlet, just constant dump offs and making things happen. I mean, he still had good rushing numbers, but not compared to what he could potentially do.
Well, it was the coordinator not utilizing him the right way too, right?
Yeah, and you see what happened.
And I think the O-line. I mean, they signed Nate Solder last year from New England, gave him a whole bunch of money, and he didn't play well at all for the Giants last year. At all.
Which is sad. That Giants O-line.
But I don't think he would hurt this year. You know what I mean? I know he's not playing this year because of COVID. Would he have a child, I believe, right? Didn't he have a baby? Some personal reasons. But, I mean, at least you got some experience there. You know what I mean? But right now, they're watching their games. They're just getting knocked around, and it's not even good football. It really isn't. And I didn't think they'd be this bad. I didn't think they were going to be as good as you thought, Jim. But, I mean, I thought the whole NFC East as a whole was going to be, like you said, kind of climbing back out of the ashes like a phoenix and rising up again to the challenges of the NFC. And it's just not happening.
You look at last week, it's the 49ers, right? Bosa's out, the line's down, and still the Giants. You got a backup quarterback, Mullins, coming in for Garoppolo. I mean, both sides of the ball, devastated by injuries. And the 49ers scored, 30-something points, and the Giants couldn't do anything. I mean, it was just I couldn't believe it. I really thought last week was their chance to win, and they couldn't even beat the second string, third string guys.
Yeah.
Forgot it.
Yep. This game, the interesting thing about this game is, so the Rams next week, they have Washington, which who cares? But then the week after that, they have San Fran. So I think that, McVay is such a crazy good coach and so creative and all that stuff. I think these next two games for the Rams are going to be very vanilla, right? They got a really great running game, like 170 yards a game. And I think it's going to be a lot of running and a lot of
it's going to be a Henderson week.
Yeah, for sure. The next 2 weeks, I think, are going to be similar. Right before that showdown with San Fran. So
I think the Giants are the worst rated run defense right now.
No, the run defense, they're giving up like 120 yards a game. It's definitely the lower half. They got the worst run offense. They were only averaging like 60 yards on the ground a game.
56, yeah.
But they're definitely, I think it was 120-ish a game on the ground.
That's just because I was just looking on DraftKings, and they were rated really, really bad. Because Darrell Henderson was looking very enticing, especially for his price range in there. And I know without diving too much into it. 23rd. Sorry, dyslexic. So
lower half.
Yeah, 23rd, 32nd. Whatever. So still a great matchup.
Yep.
Yeah.
So getting worse every week. That's the good part.
Yes.
Or bad part of you, Jim.
Actually, the Raiders are actually the worst run defense.
Yeah.
So.
Right. They're allowing 123 yards a game rushing and 250 passing. But
Henderson's.
Yeah, I mean,
Henderson's going to be hard to stop for them, and you won't have to do much more.
Sure will.
I don't think.
No. No, I'm not expecting much this week at all.
The good thing is I don't think.
Which is sad to say.
I don't think the Rams are either. So this could be a very good trap game for them. They could be coming in, Mike, like you said, very relaxed, just thinking the next 2 weeks are going to be a breeze. And if they switch it up and they start running the ball and letting Jones do some stuff with his legs and open up the passing game, get Devontae Freeman a little more involved because he's probably the most talented running back you've got on the team right now, they could swing an upset before the Rams even.
No.
I'm not.
No.
Careful. Slow down, Joe. I seen you reach for another beer earlier, man. Slow down a little bit, buddy.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Easy.
Look, I'm trying.
Easy, man.
Something to just reach onto.
Right.
Buffalo. That's
they're
your
not- they're not a New
something.
York team.
Stick
They're
with
Southern
Buffalo, and you
Canadian.
probably won't go wrong. Either way, it's still Buffalo, comma,
They play
NY.
they're the
So
Buffalo, Canada, CA. You go up there and you gotta switch over to the Rogers network. So
that's okay. Jump on the wagon, man.
No
You guys
chance.
may have to for
No
a few
chance.
years.
maybe Jim can, but that's
Not doing it.
that hurts too much. If it
Not doing it.
if it wasn't Josh Allen up there, maybe, but no,
Right.
no, still couldn't do it. But that makes it even
Right.
worse. So.
So
No, I mean, why would I switch? I mean, my team has won in my lifetime, right? So for you two guys, when was the last time the Jets have done anything? I mean, for the Jets fans that are out there, it's incredible to me how you stay with it. I mean, it's just like you, John, with the Red Sox. I don't get it. I mean, I get you got to be down, but the team has to show you something. The Giants come up every once in a while. They win a Super Bowl. They drop down for a while. They come back up. They beat the Patriots again, and then win the Super Bowl. And then, but I mean, you got to have something to hold on to at some point in your life, right? I mean, it's like when the New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup. You saw those guys holding the signs up. Hey, I finally in my lifetime, I'm 100 years old, and I finally. Maybe when you guys get to become senior citizens, they'll have a game that means something.
it's called character building.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Look,
My favorite Jet moment
Hey,
was the time
can
Joe
you mute him?
Namath was hammered on camera
God.
asking for a kiss.
that was
That was brutal.
Wasn't that the best? I'm like, man, if I was a Jet fan, I'd be
big
like,
goal.
that's my
The big
boy
goal.
Joe right
Oh,
there.
Susie, you're so cute. You're so pretty.
With a big
You're
goal.
beautiful.
You're so pretty. Kind of kiss.
You know what, though,
and he's just hammered.
He
his
that
wife
actually-
must have been
that
irate.
actually, I
Oh,
watched
just
the thing,
friggin'
the
pissed
whole,
off.
Namath story thing that came out after that, and that actually saved his life
Yeah.
because he went to therapy after that. Like he had a serious drinking problem.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Not
He was
to
wrecked,
laugh at
and
that,
he
but
didn't
I mean,
even
the guy
remember
was
it from what
wrecked
he
on
said.
TV.
He was
Absolutely
so
wrecked.
drunk he didn't even remember any of that, and he went and got help and is better now. But God, that probably if he would have kept going down that trail, he probably would be gone. And being a Jets fan, right? I mean that.
Whew.
Hello, I'm on number 2. What are you guys doing? So I feel his pain. Luckily,
Hey, I got a pumpkin beer for you, John. I found a pumpkin beer to try and catch up with you guys.
here.
There you go.
Same here, brother. Same here. Shipyard Pumpkinhead tonight.
It is rough. It's very rough. But you know what? For any women that are watching this, just know that Jets fans are extremely loyal to a fault. So
Exactly.
me and Mike, we've been married for a good number of years now and going strong. So yeah. So if you're a woman that's trying
Stay
to
through
settle
the
down,
hard times.
jump online, find yourself a good Jets fan that's been with the team for a number of years, because why else would they be?
Yeah.
And just know that he'll be through you thick and thin. He'll
There you
never
go.
leave, right? So it doesn't matter how bad it is, how good it is. I don't think we know what good is, but
Hey, Joe, I got
taste it.
I won't get into what Pat's fans are because I don't want to throw in.
ladies,
We cheat a little bit to win, but that's okay. So,
yeah.
well, but no, that's just the football team. It's not the
Yeah,
fans.
thank you. Thank you.
Wait,
And
did
I
this
say
is-
that?
This is
Right.
recording, so.
That's right.
But you know what? We'll have to see. There might be a caveat.
Like I
to
said,
that,
they're
because now
creative.
that the Brady
They're
era
creative.
is over. Let's see how many guys just jump off that bandwagon, right? When the time it is over.
The Brady era is not over, Joe.
Yeah, but Mike,
You can see it.
But
See,
Mike's
you
still
can smell
rocking.
it's still
rocking
here.
the Revis jersey,
It's
and that
still
era's
here.
been done for
It's still
a very
here.
long time. So we'll have to see. But,
I'm going to get a Newton jersey when he resigns, is what I'm going to do.
Anyway, all right, cool. Well,
I'm happy with that.
that wraps up our New York Boston breakdown, our first show, televised video show. So we'll put this up. Obviously, if you're watching it, it's on YouTube already. We'll still put out the podcast version of this that you can download regularly as you would. So good luck in week 3. We'll see what the Giants can do. Hopefully more than 12 points, right? Let's shoot for 14 and then we'll go from there. But yeah, so right.
Week 4.
Yeah, week 4. God. All right. Well, for John, for Jim, for Mike, I'm Joe. Good luck with your week and enjoy your football, and we will see you next time.